That summer, the then MP for Keighley, Anne Cryer, was visited by a delegation of local women. What they told her left her aghast.
These 7 women were saying, it's not fair, we've told West Yorkshire Police about it, we've told social services about it, and no one will do anything. I mean, friends of mine in the Labour Party, they'd known about it for years, and had never mentioned it to me.
Did you feel sort of, in any way, politically inhibited from talking about this?
Yeah, I did, actually. It was difficult for me to make these arguments without being called a racist.
Did you find any unwillingness to believe this was happening by some of your colleagues?
The politically correct brigade will always have anxieties about this sort of thing. And, yeah, I mean, you don't want to give the BNP and the English Defence League ammunition. But then again, I had to think, if these were my daughters, I'd be very upset about this. So what can I do to alleviate the situation?
I think the Observer says you were a bit frustrated by the attitude of some people. I think you mentioned Ken Livingstone when you were speaking to them.
Yeah, frustrated is an understatement. I was very cross with him.
What was the dispute? What was the disagreement?
He contacted my office and suggested that I've misunderstood the situation. Would I like to have a chat with him? So I went down, myself, my assistant, and one of the mothers. To be fair to him, he gave me at least an hour, if not more. And I think he was quite shaken when I explained that the lady sitting next to me was actually one of the mothers, because he was at that point suggesting that they might be BNP supporters or something.
Andrew Norfolk is now the chief investigative reporter for The Times. When he first heard about this story, his liberal angst kicked in immediately.
My reaction was, how on earth do you cover this story? Because it's the dream story for the far right.
Seven years after shelving a potentially explosive story, journalist Andrew Norfolk found his conscience calling him.
As the years went by, I had this very uncomfortable feeling I hadn't done my job. I sat down that night and I wrote a very long email to the news editor of The Times saying that I thought there was something really troubling going on here, that it wasn't being acknowledged, and that I needed some time to look into the story to see whether what I thought was a pattern was indeed a pattern.
As Andrew set to work, demonstrations were sweeping across the country, led by the emerging face of the far right, the English Defence League. Its members were young, organised and growing in numbers. And in the grooming of white children, they saw not just a crime, but evidence of a broader Islamic agenda.
Squeamishness of the liberal establishment, and that includes the media, national politicians, police forces, social services, in actually confronting what was going on, left a void, and into that void marched the EDL. It had become quite personal for me. There was a sense of actually reclaiming this story from the wrong agenda, the far right's agenda, and putting it squarely where it should have been all along.
So Gavin Suker, when he says both groups gave Luton a bad name, anything I did, anything we did, was a reaction. We were a reaction to a problem. If that problem had been dealt with, either by Gavin Suker's government, by Gavin Suker's Labour Party, who in fact now he's actually coming out now admitting that there's huge problems in the Labour Party within Luton with postal irregularities, voting and etc, etc. I think he said democracy's finished within the local Labour Party because of the way they're just using the system. But yeah, if his group and his government would have dealt with these problems, no one would have heard of Tommy Robinson. There would have never been an English Defence League. But his government and his local council's tactic was to appease some more, and that led to the English Defence League. So if any of them have a bad or negative word to say about me or any of the group I formed, well, they need to realise that they created it, that it's their fault it happened. They made it.